throws down the middle, intercepted!
15, 10, 5, touchdown UMass!
Welcome into the UMass Football Show presented by WMUA Sports. I'm Matt Ford-Wellman here with Aidan Tarr and Dylan Shalom in the third floor of the ILC Journalism Hub in just the beautiful day that is Amherst Valley. Guys, how are we feeling about the first 3 weeks of spring practice?
Feeling excellent. There's a lot of good vibes going on in there. These guys are fired up. They're moving around the field really efficiently. There's a lot to look forward to here in Amherst.
Spring ball only lasts so long, heading towards the last few practices leading up into the spring game. It's been a good couple of weeks. Team looking to gel a little bit better than they did at the start. Excited to see where it goes.
Tar, you kind of said what I wanted to go to as my first topic, the energy. It just feels so different than last year. Can you guys pinpoint maybe one piece of maybe it's a new coach or Harasimiak with his guys? What's fueling this energy?
I think there's a lot of motivation behind this team right now, especially coming off of an unsuccessful season. These guys are bought in. There's a lot of dedication. We talked to Timmy Hines-Peter in the press conference. He said guys are meeting after practice. They're doing meetings. They're doing film breakdowns. These guys are doing everything they can to be a level up from last year. So what I love to see is on Thursday, defense makes a huge goal line stand. The offense is a little devastated because they can't punch it in, but that defense is pumped up. There's just so much energy, and I think there's so much anticipation that they're looking ahead to.
And I think compared to last year, where the energy was very high last year too, I don't want to say it wasn't. During spring practice, everything was very rah-rah, high octane. I think everything this year seems a little bit more intentional, where you're losing some of that straight, loud energy, and with the replacement being a more focused practice. I haven't seen any real glimpses of lost focus in my time here at these practices. I mean, Matt, you were at some practices last year. There was a lot of energy. It was fast. It was loud. It was exciting. I think these practices just seem a little bit more concise and correct.
I think controlled is a word I would use as well. Just really tame and focused energy, especially in individuals. I think the defense has really excelled in that focused energy individually, and I'm excited to see the offense kind of take that turn through maybe the summer and the fall. Maybe we'll see it in the spring game. Who knows? But it seems as if this offense is slowly moving towards a more intentional aggression. And once, some of these players really get going and feel in their element, I can expect, just leaps and bounds, especially with how veteran this group really is. We spoke to offensive coordinator Max Warner pretty recently, just last week, and he had a lot to say about, the guys they brought in and how that was going to build against a MAC schedule that, frankly, is pretty tough. And we'll take a look at that here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great league, it's you want to try to get old in this league. You want to try to have a group of veteran players, which is getting harder, obviously, now in the landscape. I think we've done that a little bit with the portal and, kind of their shift of before I got here with Zoom and the support staff and the personnel people here, like trying to switch their focus to guys that have experience, whatever level that comes from, guys who've played football. Because at the end of the day in this conference, it comes down to, you look at those teams that are there at the end, it's guys who have played a lot of football.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of veteran players incoming, especially on the offense. We'll talk about a lot of them in just a little bit. Greg Knox is one of them playing. Aitor Uriona Baranachea we're going to speak about as well. And just a lot of really good pieces coming in every single position group, guys.
And something that was very much harped on by both Coach Harasimiak, Max Warner, everyone that's talked about this team, is that they had a goal to bring in players that lived, breathed, slept, loved football. And that was from the jump of the end of last season, talking about the freshman class, talking about the transfer class. Every single player that they brought in, they want because of their love of the game. And I think we've seen that in the way that they've practiced early.
And there's a lot of new pieces that we're going to be talking about, but one thing I noticed about Warner, when he walked into that press conference, everybody that was in there, he made the intention to ask what your name was, shake your hand. He's very personable. With all of these new weapons, a new offensive coordinator, I have no worries with a coach being that friendly and that outgoing, especially to the media. You can only imagine how he's treating his players. I feel like you're going to see these guys gel really, really well, especially under that common goal of just getting some victories.
I think also last year, Coach Harasimiak is a very defensive coach. He loves defense. And Mike Bajakian, while he was, good offensive minded, didn't seem to be that kind of second head coach that the offense really, really needed. Max Warner is that second head coach. He's leading this offense. He knows it's his offense to lead, and it's his job to make sure that they're prepared, not just Coach Harris-Simiak, because he's going to be focused on the defense. I want to ask you guys before we move on to some other transfers ahead, what do you think Max Warner brings that maybe Bajakian didn't?
He brings a scheme. Mike Bajakian is now in the NFL. He is the quarterbacks coach for the Cleveland Browns. He is a fantastic quarterbacks coach. He has a great track record, but he didn't have a scheme that really resonated with the players that UMass had. Max Warner is going to play a lot of 13 personnel. He's going to play hard. He knows the league. He knows what he wants. He didn't look at what this UMass team did last year because it didn't matter to him. This is a completely new group of guys that he has, that he knows. I think that's what the main sticking point for him is that he is different and he knows what he wants.
And with all these new players, he's looking to form an entire new identity. They're looking for an entire 180. With him bringing in his own philosophy and everything and applying it to these players, finding those scheme fits, they're going to do exactly that.
And he does have his players in place now. We'll look at some guys that left the team, some guys who are filling the holes they left when we come back in just a moment.
So, what's your film going to be about?
Oh my god. It'll be an alternate reality film where...
Hold up, ain't you Nathaniel B?
Actually landed with the crowd.
Well, it's a good thing you don't have the equipment to make that monstrosity.
I don't, but the UMass library does.
Oh yeah, don't they have 24 computer workstations loaded with the Adobe Suite, Final Cut Pro, and DaVinci Resolve?
Yeah, plus they have microphones, camcorders, DSLR cameras. You can even borrow SD cards.
Also, can't you email dml@library.umass.edu to book equipment ahead, or just show up in person? Wow, your movie might unfortunately happen.
Hold up, ain't you Nathaniel B?
Wait, it's actually as bad as I thought.
Welcome back into the UMass Football Show. We're going to take a quick look at some guys who left the team and are now in other places. Then we'll take a look at some guys who are filling some of those gaps and going to make the UMass football team better. We'll start off with Marquez White and David Onaha. They're two big losses on the defensive line. Same with the defense. Rashad Henry also left, playing that kind of linebacker. He came down and played some D-line. On the offensive side, A.J. Harrison moved on to Merrimack, some bigger and better things. Joquan Gibson on to Virginia, and Brandon Hood on to Southern Mississippi. Those are a lot of guys moving off, but hey, they're on to bigger, better things. They're out of Amherst. Let's move on to some guys who are coming in to the program and going to make the team better. I want to start out with the running back room because, the Minutemen did not run well up the middle, and certain running backs like Rocco Griffin had good speed and did well, but have moved on also and are now doing different things. This running back room is going to be very different. Dylan, Aidan, who are you looking forward to in this room?
I think if the offensive line doesn't improve, a hard running game is obviously going to be difficult. But if you don't have a running back that can make a guy miss, it's not going to be successful either way. Jordan Washington, transfer in from Murray State. I love the way this guy runs the football. He's very north-south, 1 foot in the ground, 1 cut, and he's making separation. Another huge thing, too, if the offensive line doesn't succeed, as a receiving back, he excels as well. His numbers are there. He can catch the ball out of the backfield and extend that run game if it's not there up the middle. But Justin Williams-Thomas in spring practice has looked great as well. I love the way that he runs. He runs with a very low pad level, physical, but has just enough burst to break free when he can.
Physicality is the name of the game with Williams-Thomas, but there's a lot of depth out there too. Elijah Faulkner got some minutes at the end of last season. Demarion Albrick, you've seen the speed. He is someone that absolutely has that burst. Godson Ogfanagaro played a lot of special teams last year. Wouldn't be surprised to see him a little bit more this season. And then the freshmen are the freshmen. They're very promising. I don't know how much time they're going to get on the field, but they're players that are definitely some people to look at.
Well, let's be real here. Coach Harris-Simiak also said that if you're down to your red shirts, you really are in a tough spot, and I don't think we're going to see many freshman running backs play, especially with how versatile the room is. What I have to ask is, do you think it was the offensive line last year? Do you think it was the running back play, or do you think it was the scheme and position for them to succeed?
It's all three. It's always going to be all three when your running game is as abysmal as it was last year. There's definite improvement in the offensive line, and then Williams-Thomas and Washington both have good resumes for their college football careers. The offensive line is where I really think that you focus and you see the improvement on the interior, though.
Another thing that I love about Max Warner's offense bringing in is he's going to utilize those tight ends as blockers as well. When you get stretch schemes moving to the outside and get those guys to seal in on smaller outside linebackers, that's going to open up a lot of running room.
Now let's get back into some additions in the trenches. Aitor Uriana Baranachea and Greg Knox going to make the interior for the Minutemen much better. What do you guys see so far out of these two that you like?
Aitor Uriana-Barrenechea is someone who's played Power 5 football before. He was the starting center for Colorado State last season. He's going to be someone that provides that experience. Greg Knox came from McNeese State. I mean, the size on both of these players, both over 300 pounds, both over 6'5" or 6'5". They're just big people, and you need big people to win football games.
And that's what I would underline, too. When we go to these spring practices, these guys look so massive when you're up close and personal. Just getting a push up front that they didn't have last year, I feel like it's really only up for the offensive line.
I think especially with these dynamic running backs, you can do a lot. These guys are not slow. They're quick-moving, big bowling balls downhill. And I think, maybe especially for Uriana-Barrenechea, coming from Colorado State to the MAC, typically see maybe some not less skilled athletes, but smaller. And that's going to benefit him a lot. Do you think the running game is going to be improved by these guys in the scheme that Max Warner's bringing or in their talent?
You'd have to assume that it'll be improved in scheme because that's what they've been trying to do the entire time that they've done this. They've been very much intentional with the scheme.
And next up, we're going to be taking a peek at some offensive weapons, primarily Joseph Griffin Jr. and what he brings to the table. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
What is this magical place?
You don't know about the People's Market?
I've heard about it, but this is my first time being here. What do I do?
Step 1. Take a bagel from the bagel container. Step 2. Toast it. Step 3. Grab a cream cheese from the fridge. But wait! Be considerate of other patrons by stepping aside and decorating your bagel away from the toaster line. Step 4. Pay! Answer the question of the day. See what happens.
How many countries are in South America?
I don't know. 12?
Yes, you get a discount.
Step 5. Taste the bagel.
Oh my god.
Visit the UMass People's Market on the entry level of the Student Union to get your paws on some delicious bagels, drinks, and treats. Check out their Instagram at People's Market 73 for their hours and additional information.
Welcome back into the UMass Football Show. We're talking about the man everyone wants to hear about, besides Pop Watson III, of course, Joseph Griffin Jr., the wideout on the outside. He's going to be an amazing piece for the Minutemen, and we have some clips of him in just a moment that we're going to be showing that are going to really articulate how good that guy is. So up here against NIU, a MAC opponent, just high points this ball out of nowhere, beats the corner straight to the jump, and we're going to see him do this a lot this year, UMass fans and the journalists, of course. Take a peek here, second look, just beats the corner over top.
Look at the body control on that, too. Not easy to keep your feet in bounds. It's only 1 foot in college, but still, he's not even open there.
No, he's not open. And you talk about body control, using his eyes, just making sure he's positioned in a place to make a play on the ball. I think that's an incredible job, and it's going to give Pop Watson someone to throw to on errant plays or maybe broken down plays. Check out this next one here against an ACC opponent in Virginia Tech. Catches it at the 38, I believe, and moves all the way downfield. Insane getting yards after catch. That's going to improve UMass's abilities to, extend drives, to get down the field quicker, and it's going to turn over those offensive possessions. And against Pitt, this is just an insane catch. Just against 2 defenders, probably a pass interference, desperate ball. Just look at that. Just comes up with it, insane.
And for a guy at his size, that body control, like we mentioned, is so impressive. It's really great to see a guy like this come into the UMass system. You lost Jaquan Gibson. That was such a big security blanket. This is a guy that's going to take that role over.
And I got to ask, guys, let's just even take a peek forward. What's this going to look like with Pop Watson in the mix, and T.Y. Harding for that matter?
I think going out onto this field, we talk about guys like T.Y. Harding. We got Kezion Dia-Johnson coming back. Adding another weapon to this offense is going to open up every other aspect, every other player on the field. He's already got a high school connection with Pop Watson. They played together at Springfield, and this guy thrives on timing routes, hitches, comebacks, slants. He already has that connection established with what we want to be the starting quarterback. Looks good from here.
He is just a physical being, and that is what this UMass team has predicated themselves on being over the course of this new Max Warner era in as the offensive coordinator. Joe Griffin is the perfect person to start the wide receiver room out.
He's going to fit in just fine with the Minutemen. Definitely a great pickup for Harris Simiak and Max Warner and the offense. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the whole entire offense, position groups and all. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
Greetings, mortal. I need to craft a suit of armor that will protect me in my never-ending crusade of war. I would have visited the ogres, but they're away on vacation this week.
Hi. Well, welcome to the Student Union Craft Center. We have some metal and leatherworking if you're interested.
Yes. Bring me your head blacksmith.
He's out right now, but we have 10 crafting areas of focus. beading, bookmaking, fiber arts, leather, metalsmithing, photography, screen printing, sewing, silk painting, and I'm the coordinator of stained glass. But we all have general experience in all fields. I can point you in the right direction. Do you have any experience doing it yourself?
Well, my ogres generally handle all of this for me.
Oh, no problem then. Anyone of any experience level is welcome here. The staff are always eager to help and teach anyone who comes through. What part of your suit do you want to get started on?
You mentioned being a master of the colorful stained-looking glass.
Yes.
Could you instruct me on crafting a lampshade for my sunroom?
The Craft Center is located in the Student Union basement. Open every weekday with hours posted outside the door and on Instagram at SU Craft Center. Come on in and find your craft.
I'm developing my 35mm black and white film photography skills.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting down to the offensive deep dive. Let's look at the position groups, some returners, some newcomers. Just a lot of good things happening on the offensive side of the ball. I want to start off, obviously, the elephant in the room, Pop Watson III, entering the program, but some other great additions in the running back room, the wide receivers. What do you guys like?
I think the wide receiver room is going to be really interesting this year. You've got returners. T.Y. Harding didn't play much last year because of an injury. He's going to be back and ready to go. Kezion Dia-Johnson, another guy that's returning, that played a lot of special teams last year. I think we'll see a little bit more of him on the offensive side of the ball. But Joseph Griffin Jr., who we talked about in the last segment, is the alpha in that room. He is very much the go-to guy for Pop Watson. But everywhere on this offense, you've seen an improvement in the talent.
And it seems like every single position group is deep. We can name 4 or 5 guys that we expect to succeed in every single position group, from the running backs, the tight ends, the wide receivers. They just have a lot of spread out talent that should be pretty cohesive.
I just can see so many weapon options for Pop Watson. And one of the things we heard Max Warner say is Pop Watson loves playing football. And more than that, he loves learning football. He loves the grind of the game. And I think, the goal in recruiting was to give Pop Watson some people to give the ball to. And one thing we also heard Max Warner say was how important tight ends are going to be, rather Reese Atkins as well. And that's going to be huge. These tight ends are going to be massive pass catchers. It's a big group. Reese Atkins, Max Dowling, Jax Markovich, Ogani. Thank you, Dylan. You're the hard name guy in the room, of course. This is the same group. So Max Warner came into the program and said, I like these guys, and how do you guys like these guys?
These guys were already utilized quite a bit last year. I think when you have a new quarterback coming into a system, you're looking for a security blanket always. If you're not comfortable with the offense, you want 1 or 2 guys that they're always going to go to. I think Joseph Griffin Jr. can be that guy for Pop Watson, given that high school connection. But a big target over the middle is something that every quarterback's going to want to lean into.
Max Dowling had 3 touchdowns last year. Reese Atkins had a touchdown to himself. Jax Markovich got a lot of touches in those last 2 games of the season. He was a freshman. He played some minutes. Matt Ogani, someone who last season impressed during camp, this season has impressed during spring practices a lot. Very athletic, very fast, super, super gluey hands. He can make pretty much any catch that is thrown to him. Unclear as to why we didn't see a lot of him last season, maybe dealing with a little bit of an injury, but he's someone who's very much available and ready to go. Atkins and Dowling both had successful seasons, probably the second and third option to pass the ball to last season.
We got Reese Atkins in a press conference just last week. We're going to take a close look at a clip just now.
I mean, if you're a tight end, this is the perfect system to be in. Yeah, I would say this is probably an easy offense to recruit tight ends because we use them 12 personnel, 13 personnel. We use everything.
And he said it right there. Tight ends are everything in this offense. I can see Max Dowling making some incredible blown-up plays in times where Pop Watson needs an outlet. Pass plays that are schemed that go wrong. Sometimes these receivers aren't going to get open, and I think it's up to those tight ends and to some extent the running backs in the backfield to give the quarterbacks an outlet. Do you think Max Warner likes these guys because they're here and they know the system, or do you think he really just likes these guys as athletes?
He definitely likes these guys because he said it in this press conference. He said, the system is me. I am creating this system. Last season doesn't mean anything to him. So he saw what he saw out of these guys, Dowling, Markovich, Atkins, Ogani, and said, I want this. I want these guys to play with me. And he didn't make any adds to this tight end group outside of the freshman Matthew Tybor. This is a good group of tight ends. We didn't see the specific statistical output that we would like to see from a tight end group last season. These are guys that can do that, though.
And Warner last year at Bowling Green produced an NFL talent, Harold Fan, and now playing for the Cleveland Browns. The way that they used him, they used a lot of tight end screens. They used a lot of just quick up and outs, getting him open, getting him involved in almost every aspect of the offense. And he also produced an extremely phenomenal tight end blocker. These guys, when we're talking about 12 personnel, 13 personnel, if this offensive line fails to succeed, they're going to have success on the edge using seal blocks, using kickouts with these guys.
Now, we've talked about the offensive line, the tight ends, and all of the weapons in between. But there's something offenses need that isn't just position groups, that isn't just one-star player. It's leadership. And it's a collective mind going towards one specific goal. And I want to understand right now with you guys, who do you think is going to step up and lead that offense and be a real vocal leader both on and off the field?
Can I be boring real quick and say Pop Watson?
You can be boring really quick and say Pop Watson.
Pop Watson is the answer. He is the definition of this team. It's going to live and die with him. He's the quarterback, and he's also the guy that is being relied upon to get results for this team.
I would agree with that. All this hype that's coming around this offseason, a lot of it is centered around him. People are calling him the savior of the team. There's a lot of anticipation for him to be the guy to step into that role. And as a guy who loves football, I can imagine he only understands how important leadership is, and I think he's more than willing to step into that role.
I think we might underestimate how important T.Y. Harding is to this group as well. You know, he's been with UMass for so long. He's probably one of the longer tenured players on the roster who's still playing an active role in the team. And moreover, every team in the MAC, or most teams in the MAC, have a good corner. One good corner, maybe two. Not a lot of teams have three. And I think T.Y. is going to get a lot more catches off of those secondary and third looks from Pop Watson, rolling out of the pocket, extending plays. And then there's T.Y. Harding open in the flat, and you don't even know where he came from. It's because he worked hard. He's a diligent football player. And honestly, I think he's a great leader for this team.
He would die for UMass. He said it in the first availability that he had. He's someone who is absolutely going to be here at UMass, ready to make plays whenever they come to him.
And I think on either side of the ball, Adkins, Harding, Dia Johnson, Nobles, Heinz-Peter, anybody that was here for an unsuccessful season is going to be uber amped up to get out on the field. Those guys that were unhappy with how the year went last season, they're going to be the ones that are pushing for the most improvement. I expect all the returners to be good leaders.
Sounds like UMass has plenty of weapons, both on offense and defense, to succeed. The real question is, will they actually put that into action? I can expect we'll see some of that action at the spring game and next fall especially. Now, everybody at home, please like and subscribe the video. We want to get interaction. We want to see people commenting, talking about UMass football and overall just experiencing this season with us at WMUA Sports. That's all we got today here in the ILC. My name is Matt Ford-Wellman, here with Aidan Tarr and Dylan Shalom. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye.